Okay, for this activity, you are going to be using the page called The Most Common Adjectives on the front and A versus an on the back. Now, last week we talked about adjectives. We talked about the fact that adjectives are describing words. We use them to describe nouns, such as the cat is fluffy. Fluffy is an adjective used to describe the noun, yes, cat. Okay, so today we are going to talk about some of the most common adjectives that we use in our writing. These adjectives are so common that they actually have their own name. They are called articles. Now, we're not talking about an article in a newspaper. We are actually talking about the part of speech referred to as an article. The three words that you see under my articles heading are the words that we're going to be taking a look at. A and the. So anytime we use those in our writing or we read those words in a sentence, they are called articles, okay? And they are indeed adjectives. Now, we use the all the time, or the we use all the time. The cat ran up the tree, okay? So that's telling you there's one cat that ran up the tree. There's really nothing to using the word the in a sentence. You guys do that well all the time. Where it gets a little tricky is when to use a and when to use an. Okay, so I'm going to show you some tips and some tricks here to help you remember when you would use the word a in front of a noun or when you would use the word an in front of a noun. Okay, so you are going to use an if the noun following the article an begins with a vowel sound. Now notice I said vowel sound. Sometimes the word might start with a consonant, but the consonant followed by the vowel makes the word start with the vowel sound, and I'm about to give you an example of that. Okay, you would say an honest person. Now, if you look at the word honest, it's very clear that it starts with an H, which is a consonant. However, that H and that O together make the aw sound, which is a vowel sound. So at that point, you know that you're going to use the article an in front of the word. Now, there are other easy ones like an apple, an orange, and so on with any word that starts with the vowel sound. Okay, now let's take a look at an apple. Sometimes you might hear people say, I ate an apple for lunch. That's a common mistake. Okay, because apple starts with a vowel sound, what it really should say is I ate an apple for lunch. Okay, so I want you to start listening and paying attention to that in your writing. And if you have a noun that starts with a vowel sound, it's going to be article an in front of it rather than article a. Okay? Now, let's take a look at some examples of when to use a. Okay? So you're going to use the article a in front of nouns that start with a consonant. Okay, and this one's fairly easy too, and we'll talk about how we know and we can tell that's easy here in just a second. A cat, a dog, a bird. Okay, you'll notice that all of those nouns start with a consonant. Okay, and it really doesn't make sense to say we saw an cat outside of our house. You know that's not natural, and that doesn't sound right. And so it's pretty easy to figure out when you're going to use your a just by listening when it's words that start with a consonant. But again, where it gets tricky is when you're trying to figure out where to use a or an in front of a word that starts with a vowel sound. And that's why you just always have to remember if the noun starts with a vowel sound, you're going to use article an before it. Okay? Let me know if you have any questions.